Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Matt Bernier. The DRF.com Formulator Race of the Day is the feature race at Keeneland on Sunday. Let's take a look at the field for the Grade 3 Dowager. For fillies and mares going a mile and a half, it is carded as race number 8. Please head on over to the Race of the Day event page on DRF.com, download your free Formulator past performances, and handicap along with us as we take this field in post-position order. Matt, the number 1, Bootsy's Girl. Distance not going to be an issue, but there are questions concerning surface and class.
Yeah, you just look at this horse and you look at her and say, well, distance, I don't know if that's necessarily going to be a bad thing, but at the same time, turf, that's a complete unknown. 0 for 7. We don't know if this horse is actually that good. And then from a speed figure standpoint, pales in comparison to some of the favorites.
The number 2 is Lottie for trainer Graham Motion. Boy, we needed her in the way.
Yeah, we did.
2 starts back at Saratoga, and it seemed once she got to the outside, she was very green with her lead changes. She was only beaten a half length by fellow long shot Estrechada. Last time out in the Glens Falls, she just didn't fire. She has gotten a little bit of a break, though, and that's been a good sign for her trainer Graham Motion in graded stakes races at Keeneland over the last few years, as we see from our formulator fact. Over the past 4 years, first off, a layoff of at least 45 days, graded stakes, Keeneland turf routes, 25% positive ROI.
I think she's going to get the pace that she needs to come with some sort of a kick. The problem is, as you had already alluded to, you and I have already been burned by Lottie in the past, and I kind of feel like we know Lottie, don't we, where she's a little bit of a goofball. I'm not saying that she can't win in here, but I don't love her.
I'm not going to hold the last race against the number 3, Place des Vosges. She was 5-1. She was beaten 14 lengths in the Ramsey Farm. First of all, she was facing an extremely underrated horse in the consistent Kitten's Roar. Second, she caught yielding turf course that she has never seen in Southern California.
Yeah, 100%. That's the way I'm looking at her, saying, you know what, draw a line through that Kentucky Downs race. If nothing else, maybe it was a little bit of fitness. You go to that first start off the bench. I don't think she ran poorly at all, and when you look at it, I'm very high on Responsible for Love. That's the horse for, I believe, Neil Drysdale out in Southern California. I just think that this horse isn't as bad as she looks on paper right now. She may not be good enough to win, but she's going to be a big number, and I don't think she's totally without a chance.
She has a positive formulator fact as well. Here's her trainer, Richard Baltas, a recent one. Past 6 months, 3rd after the layoff in turf routes, 29% over a $4 ROI. 15-1 on the morning line for Place des Vosges. Florent Giroux has the mount. The 4 is Coco Channel, adding Lasix, 2 starts back. Seems to have spurred improvement, at least from a buyer speed figure standpoint. Buyers of 77 and 75, still light compared to these leading lights of the filly and mare marathon turf division, also still eligible for non-winners or 2 life.
Light on figs. I will say, though, that mile and 5/16 race at Kentucky Downs, that should sort of translate here nicely, I would think, at a mile and a half. The problem is, I don't know if she's good enough.
Daring Duchess handles a mile and a half, no problem. She went gate to wire in the Kirtana Stakes at Churchill Downs, 3 starts back, then probably overmatched against Dona Bruja, 2 back in the Modesty. Last time out, she caught that yielding ground, and I don't really think that's what she wants. She likes to hear her feet rattle up front. The problem with her is there are other speeds in this race.
There's other speed in here. I think she needs to have the lead. I remember I was all over in the Bewitched earlier this year in April here at Keeneland, and I thought it was just, no disrespect, that was just the worst loss that you could possibly see. She was out there by herself, just walking on the front end. We know Mike Maker, second off the bench, he can do all sorts of good things. I don't like this horse.
Promotional, the number 6, I think, has an outside chance here. Her most recent race at Saratoga, A, she caught yielding ground. B, she ran to the much improved Off Limits, who came out of that race to win the Grade 3 Noble Damsel at Belmont with a whopping 105 buyer speed figure. She is a little bit inconsistent. She doesn't win very often, but she's going to get the right setup, right?
She's going to get a very good setup. And you know what? You got to respect anything that Tom Proctor throws out. They haven't had a lot of runners at this fall meet at Keeneland, but when they show up, they run. I believe at this time, when we're on this, he's 2 for 2, Big Ben the other day as well. I agree with you. She doesn't like to win very often. I picked her 4th.
Apple Betty ran well in last year's Dowager. In her first start in North America, she had a little bit of trouble. She was only beaten a nose by favorite Electrum that day. She's come back and run 4 times for Shug McGahee as a 4-year-old. Gate-to-wire winner at this distance, 2 starts back. We're just allowed to walk on an easy lead. In the way as she got the lead again, it wasn't as easy. I know you were disappointed in the way she gave it up in the stretch. I'm more bullish.
Yeah, and you know what? I suppose going back and looking at it a little bit more, maybe it was just the heat of the moment, and I thought it was a bad effort, a bad loss, the way that she just completely spit it. But at the same time, you've got to respect the fact that she ran as well as she did over here in October last year, and I like the fact that that day she came from a little bit off of it. I think that's how she's going to need to run if she's going to win here. There's no sense in going to the front, because if you do, you're going to have company out there early.
I don't think she needs the lead. She showed in some of her races overseas earlier in her career the ability to sit back off horses and pass in the lane. I think that's going to work to her advantage at Keeneland on Sunday. Polar Vortex takes a big step up in class, beaten in a $50,000 claimer, restricted to 3-year-olds. But again, right now, the way Tim Gleicher's barn's going, I don't want to discount anything this barn's sending out.
You know, at least Bullard's Alley had shown in the past that he had some ability and could run. Yeah, Bucaro as well. Bowler Vortex, she looks tough on paper.
Let's take a look at the Timeform US pace projector, because the horse that our friends at Timeform US has in front is an admirable runner, to say the least. That is Daddy's Boo. She's won 15 of 24. Yeah. She has won 4 out of 5. And this time she's going to break a streak of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 consecutive times she's been the favorite. She's not going to be the favorite here. Our friends at Timeform US believe she's going to make the lead. This distance concerns me a little bit.
Greatly. I mean, you go back through, she ran up at Saratoga last year at 1 mile and 3/8, tired at the very end. You go all the way back even farther to Tampa Bay last year in 2016, 1 mile and 3/8, faltered at the end of it. Boy, 1.5 miles, you know her game. She's going to the front. I just don't think it works.
You liked Grateful last time out in the Glens Falls, and that was just a tough loss. She set the pace. She was on the lead every step at the last jump when the Classy Harmonized got her, beat her by a neck. She popped a 99 by her speed figure. She is an up-and-coming 3-year-old filly for Todd Pletcher, and best of all, she doesn't need the lead to win.
Yeah, I like her. I think she's got a lot of ability. I think that versatility where she doesn't need to go to the front. She can sit a length or 2 or even 3 off of it and still come with some sort of a run. I think that's all beneficial and advantageous for her. Manny Franco's going to have to work something out. We talk about it. I know 10 posts is not necessarily nearly as bad as 12 or 14, but you're going 3 turns. You're going to be giving up some ground at some point. He's either going to need to get into her and get her into a position early, or take her back and say, we're going to try to make one run. I guess if you're going to do that, you should get a good setup early.
I think he's going to try to follow the 9 out of there, and maybe try to ease into a 2-path stalking trip. Here's a positive formulator fact for Pletcher. Past 5 years with older turf routers, first start off a layoff of at least 45 days in graded stake turf routes at Keeneland, 36%, over a $7.29 ROI. Pick time for the Grade 3 Dowager, the DRF.com formulator race of the day. You like Place des Vosges, positive formulator fact for Richard Baltas, good price on the morning line.
Good price on the morning line. I think she's a little bit dirtied up. I don't think she's quite as bad as she looks on paper. Rarely do we see the West Coast turfers be able to come to the East and succeed. I think this may be one of those sort of odd instances where she's not that far off some of the best girls in here. And again, I think the fact that look at some of the horses she ran against. Remember, Kitten's Roar, we know, again, like you made mention, underrated. Responsible for Love, I think, is sneaky good. And then you even go farther back. September Stars, unfortunately, she got hurt, but she was very, very talented too. I think she's better than she looks on paper.
For me, it's Apple Betty, Stalk and Pounce this time around. She has the good race over the Keeneland turf course, which I think is very, very important. It can be a horses for course kind of turf situation. I think she's run some good races, especially at 1.5 miles. I want to see her off the pace this time around. Matt's going 3, 7, 10, 6. I'm going 7, 10, 9, and 2 in the Grade 3 Dowager, the formulator race of the day at Keeneland on Sunday. If you are playing that card from home, please sign up to DRF Bets. You'll immediately access a $300 bonus when you head over to drf.com/fall and use the access promo code FALL300. Approximate post time of the Dowager, 4:57 Eastern. Race number 8 at Keeneland on Sunday. Best of luck.